All right, welcome back again. Welcome to Math Replay. I'm your teacher, Mr. Chavis.
And this is episode 5.
Today we're going to replay rounding whole numbers and decimals. All right, let's get started. As you can see here in the center of your screen, we have a warm-up, okay? Now the directions say round to the nearest thousand. To the nearest thousand. All right, as you can see, I took the liberty of writing the numbers over here in red. Makes it a little more pretty. And let's start rounding. The first thing we need to do is identify the thousand place. So let me go over here in our toolbox and select the color we want to use. Nice blue. And let's identify the thousand place. Okay, this is the ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So the first thing I like to do is underline the place value they want me to round. Now the next step I like to do is look to my right. So I draw a nice little arrow here. And then I ask myself a question. When I look to the right, I ask myself, is this number 5 or higher? Well, if the number is 5 or higher, I will add a 1 to the underlying digit and add them together. So 1 plus 5 is 6. And guess what? The rest of the digits become 0. Wasn't that easy? All right. Well, let's try the next number. Now remember, our directions say round to the nearest thousand. So this is the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So I underline that. I look to the right, and I ask myself this question. Is this number 5 or higher? Well, it's not 5 or higher. It's actually below 5. So in this case, if the number is lower than 5, the number I underline will stay the same. And the rest of the numbers to the right of it become zeros. And this number, well, I could just bring it on down. Finish with that one. Okay, now let's round this number to the nearest thousand. It's ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Underline it. Look to the right. Ask yourself that famous question. Is this number 5 or higher? Yes, it is. It is exactly 5. So if it is 5, then you want to add 1 to the underlying digit. It becomes a 4. And the numbers to the right of it become zeros. And then we could just bring down this 4 and bring down this 2. All right, now that's our warm-up. All right, now what we want to do is we want to come down here. We have 2 examples that we want to try to do. We have example A and example B. Now the first example says round 63,283,025 to the nearest million. So let's see if we can follow the steps just like we have over here. Now step 1 says find the rounding place. Well, the rounding place is the millions place where the 3 is. Step 2 says look at the digit to the right of the rounding place. Well, the digit to the right of the rounding place is 2. As you can see, they highlight it with the red color, 2. Then the directions in step 3 says if it is 5 or more, change the number to the next larger multiple of 10, 100, or 1,000. Now in this case, it's exactly like I demonstrated earlier. Now if this number is below 5, well, this number will stay the same and the rest will become zeros. Now what do you notice down here? Didn't the 3 stay the same and the rest become zeros? Exactly. And then they brought down the 6. 63 million. Just like I showed you up here. Now in example B, they're rounding a decimal. Take a look at this. It's 35 and 846 thousandths. Now they want you to round this to the nearest hundredth. Now if you recall in the previous lesson, this is the tenths place. This is the hundredths place. So they have underlined the hundredths place. Now if you follow my direction from previously, I said you want to look to the right and ask yourself a question. Didn't they look to the right? Yes. And that number is a 6. Now you want to ask yourself, is this number 5 or higher? Well, it is definitely 5 or higher. It's actually 6. So if it is, you then going to add a 1 to the 4. And guess what they did down here? They added a 1 to the 4 and it became a 5. Yes, and then the rest of the numbers stay the same. You get it? Well, if not, let's try a few examples over here. Let's try a number just like they have here. A number in the 10 millions place. Okay, so let's see. Let's try 53,432,065. And let's round that to the nearest million. Here's the millions place. So the next thing we want to do is what? That's right, look to the right. Look to the right, ask ourselves this famous question, is this number 5 or higher? Well, it's not. In this case, then this number, the underlying digit will stay the same, and then the rest becomes zeros, and we'll just bring this one down. So if we round 53,432,065 to the nearest million, we would get 53 million. All right, now let's try a decimal such as this. Okay, let's come over here. Let's say 45 and 642 thousandths. And let's say we want to round that to the nearest hundredth. All right, so we'll go tenths, hundredths, underline the hundredths. We'll look to the right, ask ourselves that question. Is this number 5 or higher? Well, it's not. If it's below 5, the underlying digit will stay the same. The numbers to the right of it will turn to zeros, and then we can just bring down the rest of the numbers over here. All right. Well, you're doing great. We're almost done. We have a question down here. Let's respond to it. Talk about it. In example B, explain why we write 35 and 85 hundredths and not 35 and 850 thousandths. You think you know the answer to this question? Of course you do. Well, we don't do that because simply this zero has no value, right? So how can we write that? We can say the zero in 35 and 850 thousandth has no value. All right. Okay, that's our lesson for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time on Math Replay.